Okay, today I'm going to discuss a lot of fallacies going on among the atheists here on YouTube. Now, it has to do with evolution. How does modern science today in 2019, and how has it for the past many decades, attempted to prove that macroevolution is real science and that it actually can take place? Well, there is absolutely no evidence for it because it never happened. So you know what they do? Now, for those listening who don't know anything, you're laymen and you've been convinced by the scientific community that macroevolution is real. Stay tuned, keep listening, because I'm going to tell you how they fool people, how they deceive people, and how they are deceiving our kids in school today by teaching this ridiculous fantasy religion of macroevolution. Here's how they do it. Microevolution is real. So all they really do is they take examples of microevolution and then change the word to macroevolution and say, look, here's the proof right here. A bird grew a different beak, or a bird grew different colored feathers, or a bird did this, or a bird did that, or a bird grew this, or a bird grew that. But you see, here's what they're not telling you. No macroevolution happened because guess what? It is still a damn bird! Science is so ridiculous. We don't need to see a bird starting out a bird and then ending up a bird. We need to see a bird transforming into an entirely different creature that no longer can be even classified as a bird. No more. It's something entirely, completely, 100% different. And you know what their answer is when you keep pinning your balls to the wall with this and you keep demanding this? Oh, well, if that's what you want to see, well, you're not going to see that because it takes too long. It just takes millions and millions. See, this is how you get a ridiculous, damn, stupid-ass fantasy religious theory to be credible to the people. Is when there is no evidence at all, but you still want people to believe it because you can't stand the fact that God created, so you want to try to eliminate God. So to get people to still believe it because you have nothing at all to present to them but microevolution, which cannot transform an animal into a different kind of animal, and therefore is not responsible for all the different variety of different animals we have on Earth. You simply say, oh, well, it just takes too much time. That's why you can't actually see it. If that's what you want to see, sir, you're not going to see that. That takes millions and millions and millions of... Stop! Bullshit. That's what I call bullshit. If you believe that freaking bullshit, I have another story for you atheists and evolutionists out there. Guess what? Superman is real. Guess what? He flies over my house every single day at exactly 2 p.m. I can't prove this to you at all. I can't prove it to anyone, as a matter of fact. I have no evidence. Because Superman is so fast that it cannot be seen with the naked eye. But yet, Superman flying over my house is an absolute fact. It is indisputable. That's what they do with evolution. They want you to believe this bullshit. They want you to believe something you can never see, never saw, never will see. Complete faith in the unseen that nobody has ever saw. Nobody. No scientist living. That's what they want you to believe in the unseen, based upon nothing. And how they get people to do this is simply say, oh, well, you can't see it because it takes so long. Oh, bullshit. Now I know that there's a lot of gullible people breeding out there. I don't fall for bullshit like this. Okay, now let's get into the facts here. Microevolution is not macro. They only use examples of micro because, you know why, ladies and gentlemen? We just covered this. Because for macroevolution, actual huge leaps from one kind of animal to an entirely different kind has zero evidence. There is nothing at all to prove this theory. Nothing at all. They have zero evidence, which is in the realm of blind faith. That's the only reason why they grab examples of microevolution, because they have no evidence. Microevolution does not change a creature into an entirely different creature. They say, oh, well, if you add up a whole bunch of microevolutionary steps, it will equal macroevolution. Okay, let me give you a good analogy of this. This is like saying, if you have a whole... Okay, now microevolution is small changes within a particular group, kind, family, whatever word you like to use, like the dog family. Various dogs, but the family of dogs are still fucking dogs. Various cats, but the cat kind, the cat group, the cat family, whatever, they are all still cats. Different frogs, they are all still frogs. Different kinds of birds, yet they are all still birds. Different kinds of snakes, yet they are all still snakes. You get the picture? That's micro. When you take one kind of animal, like a snake, bird, a dog, or a cat, and instead of cloning where every one looks the same as the other, like paper cutouts of the same picture, what microevolution does is it chooses from the gene pool and creates variety of that kind. So instead of getting a clone and having 50 million freaking dogs look like the first one, you're going to get 50 million different looking dogs. But they're all still dogs. Got the picture? Okay. It's normal for the DNA code to do this. The gene pool has normal variation within the pool, but it has limits. It cannot become something it was not coded to produce. So we're going to do an analogy here. Let's say you have a red square. Let's say microevolution happened. Now you have a blue square. Let's say it happened again. Now you have a green square. Let's say it happened again. Now you have a yellow square. I want you to grab square blocks, every color of the rainbow, and gather millions and millions of them over millions and millions of years. And guess what? After all those micro steps of different square blocks, guess what you have? Square blocks. They have not become triangles. They have not become circles. They have not become egg-shaped. They're still square blocks, just different kinds. You could have a billion, trillion, quadrillion micro steps of square blocks, and in the end you still have square damned blocks. You're not going to get a triangle. You're not going to get anything else but more damn blocks. So this stupid fallacy, this assumption, this completely scientific ignorant statement, oh well, many micro steps over many millions of years could lead to revelation. Woo! Could lead to macroevolution at some point. Wrong! Wake up, is anybody home? Absolutely wrong. No, it can't. Let's take humans for example. The genetic code is the instructional blueprint to create a human being. That code can only create a human being. Within that code, that is the blueprint for a human being, there is variation. There is room to wiggle, which means while it's creating humans, it's going to create various kinds of humans. We have black people, red people, doesn't matter if we have green or yellow or black with pink polka dot people. We're all people. That's why every human being looks different. Unless, of course, you have identical twins, which happens from time to time. But you get my point. Go out and look on the sidewalk. Look at people passing. Does everybody look like a clone? With our faces, they're all different. We all look different. Our body styles are different. Our eye colors are different. All our traits are different. The way we think is different. Our weight is different. Everything about us is different. Tons of variations of human beings across the planet. Because the DNA code, while it's the blueprint to create a human being, there is room to wiggle. There are boundaries, but it cannot go outside the limits. And the limit is what it's coded to create, a human being. You'll never get anything but a human being. And the same applies to every living thing on this whole damn planet. You will never get anything from this code but a human being, but it's got room to wiggle. Like I said, within this gene pool, it can pick various traits passed on down from generation, from generation, from generation, from generation. There is variation within the gene pool that it can choose from, it can pull from, and create various humans. And that's what we see all over the planet. Various humans, we all look different. I just said this. So, and guess what? We're all still human, aren't we? It's been going on for thousands of years. And yet we're all still human. There ain't no human with a cow leg sticking out its back. There ain't no human growing a snake tail and transforming into a king cobra. There ain't no human that has went poof and is magically transformed into something else entirely different, and he cannot be classified as a human being anymore. He's an entirely new creation. Micro is not macro, neither does micro lead to macro. That's bullshit. The only reason why evolutionists say this crap is because they're desperate, because there's no evidence. Same reason why scientists say this bull crap, because there's no evidence. So they just assume. That's all they're doing. Did they witness it? No. It's all blind assumption based on nothing. They assume is all they're doing. Well, maybe my theory is if we have a lot of little steps, it might lead to this big step. That's a theory. It's based on nothing. That's an assumption. Nobody saw it. There isn't a human being alive that saw this, that can verify this with observational, solid science. It's not science. Never has been, ladies and gentlemen. Evolution, macro that is, and when I say evolution from now on, just know that I automatically mean macro, not micro. Evolution, folks, is a religion. It was taught thousands of years, thousands of thousands, as a matter of fact, before their prophet Darwin ever was born. It goes clear back to the pagans. They had theories within pagan theology, within their religions, various religion within paganism, and the theory varied, but the concept was the same among all pagan religions. They believed that animals transformed into different animals over long, long periods, millions of years. And eventually, man came on the scene from this process. The word evolution didn't exist back then, so they just stated what the concept was. Now we call it evolution, but then the word did not exist. Why did they teach this? Because the pagans believed that man can become gods. And so they stated that life started in the ocean. What do scientists say today? Life started in the ocean. They say that men came from fish. Well, that's what the theory is today. If life started in the ocean, what lives in the ocean? Freaking fish. So eventually, if you trace back all life to its very beginnings, man ultimately came from fish. Ocean life. Well, exactly what the pagans were teaching. And eventually, man is going to take the ultimate evolutionary jump to godhood. He's going to become gods. So all that modern science really does is it strips away the deity part of it that doesn't teach men will become gods. Okay, they'd strip the fat off that, and they just teach all the rest of it. But it's identical. The concept is identical to what the pagans were saying thousands of years ago. Darwin came up with nothing new. He said nothing new. He brought nothing new. He knew nothing new. He was just regurgitating the same old pagan crap that has been regurgitated for thousands of years. A matter of fact, Charles Darwin plagiarized what he got from somebody else who got it from seances, claimed that spirits told him this. It's all rooted in the occult and paganism, every bit of it. But I don't want to get too deep on all that darn crap because I really didn't even want to mention that stuff at all. That's for a different video, different topic. But at any rate, getting back to the main point of this video and why it was made, all they can show is examples of microevolution. That's it, because there is no evidence for evolution, meaning macro. None whatsoever. So they take micro, which is science, and they use every example they possibly can. I go to Talk Origins constantly and all these other secular, atheistic, evolutionary sites that you can think of. I study constantly the other side because I want to know what they're saying. So I'm not surprised by anything. I see all their so-called evidence. I've heard it all, folks. You can't send me anything in the comments I haven't read already. I've seen all the links. I've seen all the videos. I've heard all the arguments. I've seen all their articles. I've heard all the theories, heard all the excuses, heard all the comebacks. I've heard it all, seen it all, been there, done that. I've been doing this for over 10 years with evolutionists. There's nothing you can come back at me with I haven't already heard and refuted 1 billion times already before to other people. And I've heard all their arguments on Talk Origins and they show pictures of birds and now they have different beaks or different colors or whatever, like Darwin's finches. Guess what? They're still birds, aren't they? And and the salamander example. Guess what? It's still a salamander. Or they'll show an example of a lizard on an island that its tail did this or its colors did that. Look, evolution is true. It's a fact. Look, it's still a lizard, isn't it? So this is their evidence, and I'll wrap it up with this. Their evidence that macroevolution is true is that lizards stay lizards, birds stay birds, salamanders stay salamanders. Basically, everything stays the same. That's their proof. Which I knew all along. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, evolutionists, for proving what we knew all along, that everything stays the same. Thank you for proving Genesis. And God said, let every kind create or produce after its own kind. Thank you for proving what God said and what we knew all along, that everything can only produce after its own kind. Good day.